Hello, everyone. Good day. Welcome to Turning Up the Heat, a talk on climate change. I am your host, Rans, and together with my amazing co host, Rain, we're here to speak about awareness, action, and hope for our planet.
That's right, Rans. Today we are turning up the energy and diving deep into one of the most important issues of our time climate change. It's not just about rising temperatures, it's about protecting our home, our future, and everything we love about this planet. To have an overview of our topic for today, let's watch this short clip.
The Philippines is extremely vulnerable to climate change.
As the climate crisis intensify, so was the extreme events that has been happening around us. Flooding, sea level rise, drought, which causes food shortage and expensive commodities. Health problems and poverty are aggravated due to unexpected disasters.
Oh, it's really sad to see and to hear that clip, partner, no? From stronger typhoons to unpredictable weather, we have felt all of this impact, especially here in our beloved country, the Philippines. But don't you worry, guys, because for today's show, this is not just about the problems. It is also about for the solutions, inspiration, and for a change.
And joining us are passionate and knowledgeable guests, teachers, advocates, and everyday change makers who will help us understand what's happening and how we can make a difference.
So sit back, relax, and get ready for an eye opening conversation because together we can be the generation that turns awareness into actions. This is Turning Up the Heat.
A talk on climate change. For today, partner, we will be joined by our esteemed guest that has specialties in climate change, which will help us understand more on this. First up, we have Miss Arain, a climate scientist who specializes in climate patterns and environmental data.
With Miss Arain, we will learn what exactly is driving in today's climate crisis. Hi, Miss Arain.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to shed light on the science behind the climate change.
Aside from her, we also have here Attorney Leo Ligao. Attorney Leo Ligao is an environmental lawyer that focuses on environmental justice and policy. She will explain to us the impact of the crisis in the Philippines and in the world. Hi, Miss Larry G. Welcome.
Hello! It's a pleasure to be here and discuss how the law can protect the planet.
Wow! Now, representing vulnerable communities, especially those reliant on agriculture, we have Miss Maranga, a local farmer. Hi, Miss Maranga.
Okay, it seems like Miss Maranga is having difficulties in her mic. Hi, Miss Maranga. We will get back to you later. Just fix your mic first. Okay, aside from her, we also have Miss Nerviol, a youth climate activist. Hi, Miss Leslie.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. The youth are ready to take action.
Now, from the business sector, please welcome Mr. Santillan, who advocates for sustainable businesses practices.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. There are ways for businesses to grow while protecting the planet.
Oh, that is so exciting to hear. Lastly, we also have Miss Juniga, which will represent the government as a DNR officer. Hi, Miss Presea Juniga.
Hi everyone, happy to be part of this discussion. Climate action also begins with good governance.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Do you agree with that, partner?
Agree, super agree, partner.
With our
To begin,
esteemed guest, we can say that it is really a knowledgeable talk for today. It will give us very much informations, right?
yes, indeed, partner. Now, to begin, let us hear from our climate scientist, Miss Arain. What exactly is driving today's climate crisis?
First, the main driver of today's climate crisis is the human activity, which has been the primary cause of climate change since the 1800s. This activity generates an overabundance of heat trapping gases, leading to the rapid warming of the planet. Climate change reduced to long-term shifts in global temperatures and the water patterns.
So are you saying, Miss Arain, that human activity is really the major cause of this crisis?
Exactly, Mr. Renz. Greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere, intensifying global warming. The single largest contributor is the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas for energy. This process releases significant amounts of greenhouse gases that drive the global warming.
Oh, maybe that is also the reason why we are now experiencing stronger typhoons, rising sea levels, and unpredictable weather, right, Miss Arain?
Yes, that's true, Ms. Rain. To add, the two most significant gases causing climate change are the first one is the carbon dioxide, which comes mainly from burning fossil fuels, such as using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building. It is also released by clearing land and cutting down forests. The second one is the methane, which is the major sources of methane emissions are agriculture and oil and gas operations.
Thank you so much for the information and awareness, Miss Arain.
You're welcome, Ms. Istiner. Thank you as well for having me here.
All right, now let's proceed to our environmental lawyer, which will explain to us based on a perspective of a legal standpoint. Let's call on Attorney Leligi Liuligaw. Hi, Attorney. Welcome back.
Hello, attorney.
Hi everyone, this is Larry Luligaw. I am an environmental lawyer and I'm very excited to share with you some of my knowledge and tips with regards to the global crisis we're facing right now, which is climate change.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Liuligaw. Now, as an environmental lawyer or from a legal standpoint, how really serious is this climate threat for the Philippines?
The climate threat to the Philippines is extremely serious from a legal and constitutional standpoint, translating environmental vulnerability into issues of fundamental human rights, constitutional obligations, and corporate accountability.
Oh, so how does the legal framework recognize this threat, Miss Liligaw?
The legal framework recognizes this threat as a matter of national survival, making the failure to act a potential breach of statutory and constitutional duty. The severity of the threat is fundamentally rooted in the state's obligations to its citizens. First is the right to a healthful ecology. The 1987 Philippine Constitution mandates that the state shall protect and advise the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology. Second, the Climate Change Act of 2009, RA 9729. This law formally recognizes the country's vulnerability to climate change and establishes a comprehensive framework to address it, the policy mandate and the institutional mandate. Third is legal risk from physical impacts. The scientifically verified impacts of climate change present tangible legal risks, the land loss and displacement, and food and water insecurity. To summarize, the climate threat is not just a scientific or environmental problem, it is a foreseeable legal disaster that undermines the fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution and is already being addressed through pioneering litigation and legislative efforts.
Now, thank you so much, Attorney Liligaw, for giving us a clear and powerful explanation from the legal perspective. Your insights remind us that climate change is not just an environmental issue, but also a matter of rights, responsibility, and justice.
Right, partner. And with that, we encourage everyone watching to
From the
stay
legal
informed,
side,
get involved, and support actions that protect our communities and our future. Once again, thank you for being us today, Attorney Leo Ligao. And today, for now, we will introduce our next guest, I guess.
Thank you, partner. Now, for our next guest or speaker, we will be from the most effective sector if in this sad crisis. from the POV of a farmer, which will represent the community. Let us all welcome Miss Cherry Rose Maranga. Hello, Miss Maranga.
Good day, everyone. I am sorry about earlier. I'm Cherry Rose Maranga, a local farmer and community representative. As someone who works directly with the land every single day, I can say that climate change is not just a concept to us, it is our daily reality.
Welcome, Miss Maranga. Oh no, partner. From that self-introduction alone, I can feel it. Do you feel it? So we can already feel how deeply climate change affects them and to the community. It's I realize that it's really different when the experience comes directly from the people who worked in the land because they are the one who really see the changes, not in reports but directly in their field, to their harvest and to their daily lives, right?
That's right, partner. With that, Miss Maranga, can you share with us what specific challenges farmers like you are currently facing because of climate change?
Oh, the situation we face right now because of climate change is very hard. We farmers who feed the nation are the ones taking the biggest hit from this changing climate. It's not just a little bad weather, it's a constant battle for survival in the fields. So, our biggest problem is the unpredictable weather. We can no longer rely on the seasons we learned from our parents to plan our planting. Intense droughts and El Nino bring long, extremely hot, dry seasons that damage fruit crops and significantly reduce our grain productions. For rice alone, we've observed yield drops of at least 10% of every 1 degree Celsius increase in minimum temperature during the dry season.
Oh my god, that is so sad and alarming, Miss Maranga. How about during the rainy season?
Oh, in terms of the rainy season, they come in the form of devastating floods and stronger typhoons. These extreme weather events can wipe out entire fields, especially when they hit during the crucial flowering stage of crops. The number of days with heavy rainfall is also expected to rise, leading to massive crop damage, flooding, and even landslide in farming communities.
Oh, that's a very sad experience, Miss Baranga. I am so sorry to hear that. Uh, you know what, guys? With that challenge alone, we can also say that it will also affect their financial status as well, like their income and with the increased prices that the Philippines is currently facing right now.
Indeed, we farmers really need help as we often struggle with the lack of sufficient financial support, like formal loans or getting assistance quickly because of the long processing times. And an additional challenge for us is the pests and diseases that come from high temperatures and the changing climate conditions. This situation that we face right now as the farmers are really hard for us.
We really understand, Miss Maranga, and we also hope that you will receive help from the government from this crisis. Later on, we will ask our government representative about that. Don't worry.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
because that's the role of the government to support our local farmers as well. All right, partner. Oh my God, the topic is really getting deeper, right? Now, I think we need to proceed now to the deeper level, which our next speakers will focus on the impact naman of the climate change, maybe on the water, on the food, and really in the community. So first, let's call once again Miss Arain, our climate scientist. Hi, Miss Arain, again. Okay, I would like to ask you, Miss Arain, so that from a scientific perspective, how does this climate change affect our food production?
From a scientific perspective, climate change affects food production and water supply by disrupting the natural conditions that crops and ecosystems rely on. Rising temperatures stress plants, shorten their growth periods, and reduce yields, especially for heat-sensitive crops like rice and corn. Extreme weather events is such as stronger typhoons, intense drought, and erratic rainfall damage fields, delay planting seasons, and destroy entire harvests.
Oh, Now, how about the water supply, Miss Arain?
Water supply is greatly affected because higher temperatures cause faster evaporation. Worsening droughts, unpredictable rainfall then brings either too little water or too much, leading to floods, soil erosion, and contaminated water sources. This creates instability in food production and increases the risk of water shortages.
Yeah, for food and for water, it is really affected, partner, right? It is really sad that climate change is really here, and we generations are facing this right now. Okay, yeah. Now let's call our youth activist or representative to explain to us their perspective. So we have Miss Leslie Nerviol. Hi, Miss Leslie. Welcome again.
Thank you so much for having me here again, and I am excited to voice out and share with you our perspective as youth.
Hello, Miss Nerviol. Now, we have a question. As a youth climate activist, why should young people like you care about food and water security?
Thank you for that. I think young people should care about food and water security because these are essential for survival in daily life. Without enough food and clean water, communities face health problems and economic struggles. Climate change makes these resources increasingly unstable, affecting our generation directly. By staying aware and taking actions, we can support sustainable practices and protect our environment. Caring now means or ensures a healthier and more secure future for ourselves and for the generations to come.
That is absolutely right, Miss Nerviol. Generations to come. We can say that young people, the next generations, are really the inheritors of these consequences. Imagine your children in the future will suffer the intense heat, the droughts, and whatsoever. So as early as possible, we will train them to take good care of our nature by doing it as well as our own. Right? Do you agree with me, partner?
Indeed, partner. That is absolutely right. Thank you, Ms. Nerviol. Now, let's hear from the perspective of a government representative. We have from the DENR, Ms. Priscilla Gray Zaniaga. Welcome again, Ms. Zaniaga.
Thank you, Miss Esnor, and hello, everyone. I'm Priscilla Grace Zuniaga from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DNR. Here, I will explain the impact of this crisis to our department and to share what are our roles on this.
Okay, welcome, Miss Zuniga. So I have a question for you. So with the ongoing issues right now in the Philippines, like we all know in the corruption, right? So from the perspective of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, which connects to the climate change, what is the government doing right now to address this crisis?
Thank you for that wonderful question. Today, we're working on reforestation programs, stricter environmental compliance, and partnerships with LGUs for disaster risk reduction. But we admit there is more work to do. Collaboration is key. Government, private sector, and communities must work hand in hand.
Yeah, collaboration. What a word, Miss Zuniga. So aside from that, what are the challenges that the government also faces?
We have budget constraints, lack of manpower, and sometimes resistance from stakeholders, but we push forward.
Oh, it sounds like a tough road, Miss Zuniga. But it's so inspiring to hear that despite these challenges, the government still continues to push forward to make better for our community.
That's right. Now, let's call our last guest who is from the business industry. Mr. JB Luis Santillan. Welcome again, Mr. Santillan.
Thank you, Mrs. Tenor. And hello, everyone. I am JB Luis Santillan, representing the business sector.
Hello, Mr. JB. Welcome. So I have a question for you. So this is from the our audience. So what are the challenges do businesses owners like you that face when implementing a sustainable practices?
So, businesses face several challenges when implementing sustainable practices. High upfront costs for green technologies, lack of expertise, and limited access to sustainable materials can make it difficult to transition. Sometimes there's also resistance from stakeholders who prioritize short term profits over long term environmental responsibility. Now, despite these hurdles, many companies are finding ways to innovate and integrate sustainability because it's essential for resilience, reputation, and long term success.
Thank you so much, Mr. Santillan. And it is also clear that while the businesses faces challenges, their role in fighting the climate change is also crucial, right? And balancing profit with responsibility is not really easy. But as you mentioned, Mr. Santillan, it's necessary for the future and for our communities and the environment. Now, hi, Ms. Zuniga. As a representative from the government, okay, I would like to ask these questions in behalf of our local farmer, which we mentioned earlier, right, partner?
Yes,
Yeah.
part indeed.
So, Ms. Zuniga, as a representative from the government, what programs or support can the DENR provide to help farmers like Ms. Maranga to adapt and protect their livelihoods from the impacts of this climate change crisis that we are facing right now?
Okay, the government supports farmers through programs mandated by laws such as Climate Change Act of 2009 or Republic Act 9729, which requires the integration of climate resilient practices in agriculture and community planning. We implement initiatives like sustainable farming training, irrigation support, and disaster preparedness programs to help farmers cope with extreme weather. For more information, you can direct your question or visit the official website of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DNR, where they provide resources, updates, and guides on climate resilient practices and support programs for the farmers and communities. Thank you.
If I may add, while the government programs are helpful, sometimes the support comes too slowly or doesn't fully reach farmers in remote areas. Businesses can step in by providing resources, technology, and training more directly, which can make adaptation faster and more practical.
I understand your point, Mr. Santillan, but I think we also need stronger government enforcement and policies. Without proper regulations and accountability, even business led initiatives might not be enough to protect the environment and ensure long term sustainability.
That's an important perspective. It shows that both immediate action and strong policy are needed for real impact.
As a farmer, I can say that we need support that actually reaches us. Practical help guided by science and backed by laws make a real difference in protecting our crops, livelihoods, and communities.
I totally agree with you, Miss Maranga. That conversation seems like I can feel the tension, partner. Like it seems like they are debating from each other, from their own perspective and contradicting the perspective of the other. Yeah. All right. So we can say that this show really shows that science, law, and practical action must work together for a real impact. Thank you so much, our dear beloved guests, for sharing your thoughts for today.
Well, to add, climate change is not just a topic, it's a shared reality. And every sector has a role. With science, good governance, responsible business practices, and empowered youth, we can build a safer and more resilient future. Together, we can shape a future that is safer, greener, and more sustainable.
Once again, guys, this is Renz Caborna, your host.
And I am Jasmine Rain Astenor, your host. This
This
has
has
been
been Turning
Turning
Up the
Up the
Heat,
Heat,
a talk on climate change. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and let's all take part in protecting our environment and building a sustainable future.